This content is rated rebellious. Viewer discretion is advised, includes satire and mature content. Well, Gavin, where have I heard this before? Ah, yes, of course, yeah. That's where I heard it from. Still, it could be worse.
So my buddy Nero got his second bomb threat this week. The first one was a while ago in DC, and it was at a journalism conference where he was discussing Gamergate. This week, it was another journalism conference in Miami, and they were again talking Gamergate. This was with the factual feminist C.H. Summers.
You got 10 threats at SPJ, Gavin. At least get your facts right before you start reporting it.
And for those of you who are normal adults, you probably don't know that Gamergate is the idea that feminism and political correctness should work its way into video games.
What do you mean, normal adults? And what do you mean by feminism and social justice should be allowed in video games? Now, that, I will grant, is probably you taking the piss. But the former I have issue with. I have a huge issue with that. What do you mean, normal adults? What, do you mean that normal adults don't play video games? What is this? The 1980s where everyone was really, really judgmental on people playing video games? Or is it the 2000s where we thought it wasn't cool? I can't quite remember. But I seem to remember that being quite a prevalent belief. Gavin, you are a man in your 30s. You are the prevalent demographic in gaming culture. And that includes women too. You guys over the age of 30. You are the majority. Me, at 21, nope, minority. And yet apparently you're a normal adult. Right.
The gamers, that's a movement. Guys who play video games have a name for themselves.
Gamers are not a movement. Gamergate is a movement. In Gamergate, we are called Gamergaters or Gamergate supporters or misogynists if you're of the ag persuasion. But as a general rule, communities are not movements. Gamers are a community. They are a subculture. A movement would be libertarians within the movement of libertarianism. There is no gamerism. There are just the gamers and the gaming community, Gavin. It's that simple. Gamergate is the movement. Gamers are part of the gaming subculture. It's not hard to understand if you're a normal adult.
The gamers fought back and said, no, your PC doesn't belong in our world. And Summers and Nero say the same thing. This got a bomb threat both times. This time, though, they managed to get most of the talk out, but the bomb threat dispersed the crowd. Some angry social justice warrior against free speech doesn't want this being discussed.
Even though the bomb threat stopped the actual speech from happening, people still went and had conversations outside, as you can see from one of the panelists' live stream with some kind of app that I'm unfamiliar with. And for once, it wasn't a social justice warrior, it was actually a third-party troll, and they were plastering it all over the internet. These people wanted to know that these were the guys that were doxing people in the chat and threatening us with bomb threats. They were doing it for the lulz.
So they discussed it outside after they got bomb threaded out.
Well, I guess I didn't really need to say anything about them continuing it outside. Thank you, Gavin.
There's a layer of patheticness here, though, that no one is talking about. Namely, I don't care if video games are sexist or not sexist or politically correct. Video games are for little kids.
How are games like GTA 5 or Hatred or any other game that has 18 or M for mature for kids? How are games like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, you have concepts that most kids couldn't even grapple with, are for kids? How is that for kids? Just because you used to play Pac-Man and Bomberman in the 80s doesn't mean that video games are just for kids, McInnes. That's condescending. That's not satire. This is not even mature content. This isn't even basic fact-checking. This is you and your preconceived notions of what video games are like, and they are sadly wrong, McInnes. You see, people, as Spinosaurus Kin said, don't trust a trad.
Why are adults playing video games?
Because supply meets demand. It's basic capitalism, McInnes. There are games that adults like. They have grown up with them. They obviously enjoy the medium. Maybe that's why. I mean, it's not rocket science.
My brother-in-law got my kids a Batman game for Christmas. They can't play it. It's for adults only.
I'm beginning to wonder if satire is now just an excuse for just shit like this, which is just terrible. I mean, Batman wasn't the silly, stupid stuff you used to see in the 60s and the 70s, or right now with Batman the Brave and the Bold. We do have the Nolan verse, and even before that, in the 80s, we had very, very dark comics like The Killing Joke, Death in the Family, which might not be the 80s, but it's an old comic, and The Dark Knight Returns. And even before that, in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s, especially the 30s and the 40s, Batman used to have a gun, and he used to kill people, or at least shoot people. I don't know if he killed them, but he used to have a gun. It's never been the silly camp comedy that the 60s introduced. It hasn't always been that way. Again, you're supposed to be a journalist or some kind of person who knows this shit. You're in Rebel Media, right? Yet you can't even get these basic facts right. And yet this is a satire, people. So it's okay to make these mistakes. It's okay to give us a poor product.
Batman? When I was a little kid, we watched Batman on TV because we wanted to be tough and fight bad guys. Now you're 32 and you're sitting there, I'm Batman, I'm Superman, I can fly. Look at my Wolverine shirt. He has claws. You read comic books? That is for people who are special, okay?
I know I've got Asperger's, okay? So I can't take things seriously sometimes when they're not meant to be taken seriously. But I'm not alone here, and I'm not alone. But I don't think that guy was being deadpan. I think McInnes is being very serious here. He genuinely thinks that to be a comic book fan, to be a video games enthusiast in your 30s, even though you are the dominant age group within those two mediums, within those two fan bases, ironically enough, you're special. You're a mentally handicapped person, as he later puts it. That is just ignorance. That is plain and simple ignorance. I'm not going to say it's borderline bigotry, but it doesn't put yourself in a good light, McInnes. You're sounding exactly like the social justice warriors that you hate. These people say the exact same things about us that you're supposed to be defending us from. So what is it? No, what are you trying to say? Stop, social justice warriors. These are the nerds that we're supposed to be bullying, not you. I can't even compute what you just said then. It was that stupid.
In the old days, you lived in the basement because you were mentally handicapped.
You were put in the basement because you were mentally handicapped. The constant stereotypes. How is this even at this point a coherent argument? All I hear is some bullshit conservative talking about how he dislikes adults playing games because apparently adults shouldn't be playing games, and that if you play games in your basement, like, when did that stereotype even come from? Who plays a game in their basement anyway? I mean, maybe because I'm British and we don't have proper basements. We have cellars where you keep the firewood and shit. At least that's what they originally used for. I can't quite understand that. But this is supposed to be a satire with mature content, but all I hear is some guy mouthing off about gamers and how we're mentally handicapped because we're adults and we're playing children's toys that are rated M for mature, by the way. We're mentally handicapped for that. We're special. Jesus Christ, you sound exactly like those social justice warriors. A bigot. I'm beginning to think you are a bigot, but I don't want to, because I know you're actually better than that, McInnes. But if this is a satire, and I'm trying to see it from your point of view, this has bombed so hard. This is the worst bomb I have seen for quite some time. It's not the worst of all time, but in terms of bombed jokes, it's definitely something I've seen that ranks up there recently. Really bad. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is terrible.
When we saw 12-year-olds playing Star Wars with 9-year-olds, we went, poor bastard, oh well. I guess he'll be living with his mommy forever. Now that's cool!
I find it ironic that this anti-nerd spiel comes from a guy who looks like a hipster nerd. Those posers that they don't like us, but they want to look like us. You look like a nerd. You look like those nerds who go around San Francisco saying, "Oh, look at me with my vintage Pac-Man t-shirt. Oh, isn't it fantastic, brah? Isn't it fantastic? Oh ho ho." I mean, Star Wars has a lot of adult themes. Despite what George Lucas tried to do, there's a lot of things in there that adult audiences could understand, that they could relate to. It was for everyone. And so what if it's 12-year-olds playing with 9-year-olds? How old were you? 20? What? So were you judging people on the things that they like? Is this what you're doing? Are you just casting judgment on the whole of nerd culture and saying, you shouldn't be like this because you're an adult? And don't worry, I've got words for you at the end. That kind of... I probably could just play this entire video and then recite this quote off at the end, but no, I'm going to refute your points because I like refuting points. Where was I? Star Wars was cool back then, and it's cool now. The prequels may have ruined it somewhat, but it's still fucking cool. It's still a classic for a reason, because kids and adults loved the movies enough for it to become a legend, to become part of our pop culture conscience. And those people, those 12-year-olds and 9-year-olds, have grown up and still love it because they, 1, choose to, and 2, why would they let go of something that they loved in the first place? Unless their tastes change. Tastes change, but tastes don't always change. And I don't think you should be passing judgment on that. You're supposed to be a libertarian, right? You're that right-wing libertarian kind of person, I guess, from what I can gather. Why are you telling us what we can and cannot like because of our age? Isn't that a tad bit hypocritical from you?
Now you want to argue about it. Now guys are online with their headsets yelling at 12-year-olds saying, "Come back out, I want to kill you. I want to shoot you with my nerd drawing gun. And you're a nerd drawing too."
Oh, I know, because you don't want to come kill us. You have no guns.
It's okay.
Oh,
yeah, yo, 2 minutes
no,
no
we're
money, yo.
pissed.
Oh, you're so pissed. It's okay.
That was the worst example I've ever seen. Is that evidence of gamers attacking a 12-year-old? Firstly, I can't hear a 12-year-old in that audio. I can't see a video of a 12-year-old. No, it's a let's play, but I can't see a 12-year-old person doing it. Plus, they shouldn't be playing GTA 5 in the first place, but GTA is just a child's game to you, so, you know, it's just a toy, you know, who cares? Who cares about ESRB ratings? It's a children's game, right? Am I right? Video game shit-talking and banter does not mean they're attacking 12-year-olds on the internet. How do you even know the 12 behind that unless you can hear them? And what the fuck is a nerd drawing? What the hell? You just shown more clueless bashing and stereotypes and trying to pass them off as an argument. Well done, McInnes. You're a social justice warrior.
Hey adult males, hey dads, you're supposed to know stuff.
Yeah, and you've shown a remarkable aptitude for being an adult male, haven't you? What advice have you got for us adult males and the fathers amongst us? I mean, I know you're a father, but what makes you the arbiter of what makes another dad a good dad and what he can do? Oh, great and powerful person of liberty, what should we do to help our kids become proper adult males and not nerds?
You're supposed to know how things work. You're supposed to know how to fix a fridge. You're supposed to be able to get a piece. You're supposed to be building a table or something.
No, McInnes. That's what you want to do, not what we should do. You're supposed to be someone who's a libertarian, right? So stop telling us what to do. You're supposed to be, let anyone do what they want. We can't have the federal government's interfere, but oh no, I can interfere because I'm a moral arbiter. I know exactly what people should be doing because I like things. And if people don't like them, they should do what I like because I'm special, I'm brilliant, I'm amazing. Is this what you're trying to tell us? I could easily do the same argument to you. Watch this. And I'm stealing from Goodfella, by the way. Sorry, Goodfella. But building things, kids build things with Lego. That's an infantile thing to do, McInnes. Did you see what I did there? Did you see what I did there, McInnes? I just used your own argument against you. You wouldn't like that if I told you that why should I build something because that's just what kids do with Lego. In fact, why should I need to know how to fix a fridge? Why should I know how to make a table? I could go and buy a table. In fact, I could build a factory that can make tables by machine. I don't need to make one by hand. Why would I need to do that? I'm a YouTuber. not a carpenter.
Yes, we watch TV sometimes. Yes, we indulge ourselves in movies. Sometimes we even read fiction. I don't read fiction, but I get that sometimes you do that. That happens occasionally, and when you're wasting time watching a show, that's a vice. It should be discouraged. It's not something to be proud of. You don't go, I'm a watch TVer. Get out of here. There's a bomb threat at my watch TV conference. What the fuck? Put down the console, you grown man baby. It's embarrassing.
Please end this video, Gavin, with your constant stereotypical bullshit and your bigotry towards nerds. It's embarrassing. You're just proving yourself to be a hypocrite. You watch TV, you occasionally read fiction, even though you're not a fiction reader. You read it with your kid, you do all these things. But that's okay, they're just vices when it's you. But when we do it, we're special, we're handicapped, we're man babies. Grow the fuck up, McInnes, and realise that maturity is not rated on how unchildlike you are. Now, I could end and have another rant about how Gavin McInnes is wrong, but instead I'm going to quote C.S. Lewis. I don't often agree with C.S. Lewis on many things, specifically religion, but I do agree with him on this. And the quote goes, "Critics who treat adult as a term of approval instead of as a merely descriptive term cannot be adult themselves. To be concerned about being grown up, to admire the grown up because it is grown up, to blush at the suspicion of being childish. These things are the marks of childhood and adolescence, and in childhood and adolescence they are in moderation healthy symptoms. Young things ought to want to grow, but to carry on into middle life, or even into early manhood, this concern about being adult is a mark of really arrested development. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up." And there we have it, people. That's all I have to say. There's literally nothing else that needs to be said. In fact, I could have played the entire clip and then put this at the end, and it would have destroyed his argument entirely. So, this has been ChammerMan93. Like and share the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all later. Remember, people, as an addendum, don't trust either the left or the right media. They are not your friends.